This is not a wake-up call to the people of Arizona and America that what's happening in Israel, this attack from terrorists, won't happen here. Then people got to pull their head out from the sand, because we have seen thousands of crossings. You just showed some of the figures. Yeah. Illegal immigrants, ties to these terrorist countries. And it's not a matter of if it happens, it's when it happens. It's a national security risk.
And that is Arizona Senate candidate Kari Lake with me last weekend on this program on the impact of Biden's southern border policy on national security. Sources within Customs and Border Protection telling Fox News that in the first 14 days of the new fiscal year, Border Patrol has apprehended more than 30 Iranians, nearly 60 Syrians, 35 Pakistanis, over 100 Russians, 285 Afghans, and nearly 2,000 Chinese migrants, all military age men at the southern border. Joining me right now is Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton and Iowa Attorney General Brenna Bird. Good to see you, AGs. Thank you for being here. Just yesterday, we learned that nearly 2.5 million people illegally crossed the border for the just completed fiscal year. That's the highest number we've ever seen on record. Ken Paxton, what has been the impact? As we know, 7 million people have come into America illegally on Joe Biden's watch.
Well, it's taken a huge economic impact on us. We've spent billions of dollars trying to defend our border. We've spent billions of dollars on education, health care. Crime is increased dramatically as a result. And of course, many of our children are dying from fentanyl overdoses because the border's wide open. So it's having a dramatic impact on my state. I know that this is not staying in Texas. This is going to impact the entire country for not just years, I think decades to come.
This is incredible. Brenna Bird, weigh in here and give us a sense of what you as an AG can do about it. Ken Paxton, I know you're about to put more lawsuits pushing back against this federal government. You've been suing the administration. Brenna, what can you do?
Yeah, well, we joined together and work with other AGs to hold the Biden administration accountable by suing them. And they need to fulfill their constitutional duty to secure the border. And if they won't do it, we will take them to court. And, here in Iowa, we're a long ways from the southern border, but the impacts are felt here. Every state's a border state now because of the absolute failure of the Biden administration to secure our border.
You just last week endorsed former President Trump. Obviously, as soon as Joe Biden came into the Oval Office, he reversed all of the Trump policies at the border. Your thoughts on the likelihood that Trump gets in and reverses this again?
Well, I endorse President Trump because he's going to fire Joe Biden and win our country back. And he will secure the border. We know that he did that as president. We desperately need that because we're going to pay for Biden's border failures for a long time, whether it's the drug cartels, the human trafficking, the crime, or the terrorists that are crossing the southern border. President Trump is going to keep us safe.
What do you think, Ken Paxton, in terms of what you can actually do in Texas as the AG?
Well, look, we're limited to some degree by a U.S. Supreme Court decision. We're hoping that as my legislature is trying to pass a bill that would allow us to arrest people that were coming into our country illegal, coming into our state, that we'll have an opportunity to challenge that Supreme Court decision so that states are not left on the sidelines as the federal government doesn't enforce their own laws and then tells us we can't enforce laws to protect our citizens. So I'm hopeful that as we move through the next couple of months, we'll have the opportunity to challenge that law and defend our own borders and defend our people from the consequences of what the Biden administration is doing right now.
Who hears those lawsuits? Can tell us the process in terms of how this plays out and how long?
So it's unfortunately, I wish it was a fast process, but typically we'll file our lawsuit in a federal district court somewhere in Texas. We've been very successful at winning those cases. I think we've won over 70% of our cases against the Biden administration. And then typically when they lose, it's appealed to the Fifth Circuit, and then whoever loses that appeals to the U.S. Supreme Court. Several of our cases have gone up there. We've been successful on some, not on others. But I'm really hopeful about this potential case in the future where we can have the opportunity to protect our own citizens when the federal government won't do it.
Yeah, and Brenna, you've said that you believe Trump is going to win the Iowa caucuses. What about all of these lawsuits that he's facing? He's got 4 indictments that he's dealing with right now. How do you see that playing out And how can you say with confidence that he'll win the Iowa caucuses, given the barriers that they've put in front of him with these indictments?
Well, he is very popular in Iowa because people remember what it was like when Donald Trump was president. They were better off. Our border was safer. He fought for farmers. He's very popular here in Iowa. As far as the rest of it, as a prosecutor, I believe that politics has no place in prosecution. And when I'm seeing what is happening with politically motivated prosecutions against President Trump, it breaks my heart as a prosecutor to see that, because politics belongs at the ballot box, not in front of a criminal indictment in front of a jury. That's wrong, and it breaks down the rule of law in our country. I don't like to see that. It's not right.
Well, I know that these indictments will play out over time, but they'd like to have a trial before actually the election. Do you think that's possible?
Paxton, we lost our IFB.
I think that we have to look at the motivations there. The whole motivations for those cases, they're all politically based. If he wasn't running for president again, I don't think he'd be indicted at all. So I commend President Trump for fighting back and fighting through all of this. It's not right for the criminal legal process to be used as a political weapon. That is wrong.
Yeah.
It will hurt our country and break down the rule of law.
Final word, Ken Paxton.
Look, this is a huge problem for our state, our country. I'm very encouraged by the fact that Donald Trump's doing so well in the polls. I hope that we can get a president like him, and we can go back to policies and laws that are being enforced that will protect my state and the rest of the country, and I'm very hopeful that that can happen.
All right, we'll be watching. Good to have you both. Thanks very much. Ken Paxton and Brenna Bird are joining us. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.